People who have ordered a bar Safeword drink to get out of a bad situation. What was your date like and how did the staff help? Recently happened to me. I met up with an ex after roughly 5 years of not seeing him. He seemed way off when I arrived at the bar. Forgot his wallet. Not surprised. So I bought the round of beers but immediately closed the tab because I wasn't expecting to pay for him and didn't want him taking advantage. When I excused myself to the restroom I was already regretting the evening. I left the restroom and he was standing outside the door. Every alarm in my body went off but I just acted annoyed and questioned him. He mumbled something and walked over to a pinball machine. Never played, just looked at it for a solid 10 minutes. Which gave me enough time to call my bartender over and ask girl to girl, "This dude's on drugs, right?" She agreed and asked me if I felt safe. I obviously didn't, so she let me exit through the back door and even got her bar back to walk me to my car. Not sure if anything would have happened but I'm really glad that she was so cool about it. TLDR. My ex showed up for drinks obviously out of his mind. The bartender helped me escape. I'm a bartender in a small town. Anytime a new woman comes into the bar I'll let her know that if she ever feels uncomfortable or needs anything to ask me to go out for a smoke with her. I've had plenty of people use it to get away from some just usual creeps. But nothing beats the night the guy asked this girl to go home with him. After she politely refused he grabbed her and called her a B. We already had our eye on this situation. My bouncer immediately came out of nowhere and tased this drunk butthole. I accidentally read this as tased his drunk butthole the first time. I had a creep corner me in a bar once and tried to stroke my thigh. A dude I've never met before came up and said, "Hey sis, I've been looking all over for you," and he put his arm around me and walked me out. "Thank you so much, stranger." It was pretty obvious they were not working together. The nice guy walked over from a group of friends, all college aged, and the creep was in his 50s. And when I said he walked me out, he just walked me to the door of the bar. I'm going to ask at work tomorrow if we could install a Safeword drink policy at the bar. That would be such a great idea. I suggested it to one of the managers and a couple others today and they like the idea. The next step is getting our general manager to implement it. I'd love to implement something like this as well, but my bar, being an old farmhouse NFP gallery, only has common bathrooms. Not sure of the best way to get the info out given that fact. Not exactly a Safeword drink, but some strip clubs will have an alcohol-free code phrase for the dancers that don't want to get hammered and don't want to refuse drinks. For example, with an extra lime wedge, the guy still gets charged for a normal drink so he's none the wiser. Musicians do the same thing on occasion. I've been known to order a glass of wine at a gig. Bartender pours me grape juice, charges $5. I keep half and they keep half plus the tip. Where I live we once had an epidemic of pickup artists on every corner. There was this one guy who was incredibly persistent and wouldn't take no for an answer. When I told him I had a boyfriend he wouldn't let me leave and said I had to give him one of my friend's number. Thank God a kind girl noticed what was happening and came up to us while saying, "Well, there you are. We have been looking for you. Come on, let's go, the show is going to start." She got me away from him and I was so thankful. To anyone out there, please don't ever do it. It's such repulsive and scary behavior. I swear 20% of the all drunk girls are automatic best friends are actually all drunk girls are trying to protect each other from creeps. I'm a straight guy and had a girl rescue me once from an uncomfortable situation. Was at a bar with a couple of buddies and these two girls sitting in front of us that none of us were even interested, let alone said anything to them at all, started trying to chat us all up. When asked what we do for a living I said I was a garbage man and had kids in the hopes that alone would be enough for them to move on. But unfortunately no. So I must have been looking around the bar with the eyes that said get me the frick out of here, and this nice girl I never met came by and did the "Hey you, I haven't seen you in forever" thing and gave me a great big hug, which of course I thanked her for. She saw I was super uncomfortable and needed rescuing so she saved me. I repaid her kindness with drinks and we met up later on for a movie. Since then I've been more aware of the signs and would help a stranger if ever the need presented itself. Maybe since they were trashy, they liked the fact that you said garbage man. Not a bar but a grocery store I used to work for had a Safeword store, did a lot of sponsorship, charities, community outreach etc, and in particular was a partner with a women's advocacy group. There was a product in the store that was never ever put on sale, so that if any employee was asked what the sale price on that item was, then one employee would distract the guy with customer service while she was shown to the product she was looking for, i.e. brought to the store office by way of the back room. The bar never had a safe word, but we had a lot of reasons to get to action. Rough crowd really. A couple came and the woman had smeared makeup and both looked just super pee. The girl whispered to the bartender that he was hitting her outside. We called the police and had her come to the back as the guy sat there dumbfounded. Cops came, put him in cuffs as he's denying it all. The manager came in to get the video for the side camera. She played it, the cops came back out and released him and cuffed her. She tried to stab him outside and broke in his windshield. Great night, and he drank free the rest of the night. Imagine trying to murder somebody and then trying to ruin his life by marking him down as a woman beater just for not getting murdered. I'm a male, but I can answer this, albeit a little late to the party. I met my GF of 5 months on a first Bumble date at a brewery in Connecticut. She arrived before I did and unbeknownst to me had made a pact with 2 female bartenders. She told them that if she ordered this brand of scotch neat that she felt uncomfortable but not scared. If she ordered it on the rocks, that she'd have someone call the bar for her to go. And if she ordered it double that, they need to escort her to the car. So no matter how she felt, there was a code involved. And one of the bartenders came over to ask if she'd like the drink now, and she kindly declined. 5 months strong for a weird first date Safeword order. I used to have my roommate call me 30 minutes after I texted her the dude arrived. If I answered it, she had saved me, and an emergency at home happened. If I ignored it, presses ignore, so it only rang once or twice. I was fine. If it kept ringing and went to voicemail, I was in trouble. Never needed it, but I was glad it was there. The bar I go to regularly doesn't have a safe word drink, but we do have a drink called the Lucy Special. If you have men that you notice are trying to buy you a lot of drinks, are sober and make you feel uncomfortable, or if you don't trust who you are around and want to keep your wits about you, the Lucy Special is a glass of ice, soda water and crushed limes. A lot of people are commenting saying this is a safe word drink. My interpretation of a safe word drink was one in which the drink name was actually a code word to get you out of a situation or to get help emergency services. The purpose of this is to make it seem like you are drinking when you are still sober. But yes, they both keep you safe. I'd straight up buy that for myself. Coming into summer here, and it sounds perfect. I've experienced the bartender hero before. Out with a friend in DC. Guy comes up, stands way too close, introduces himself and shakes my hand way too hard and way too long. I had to actually pull my hand away and he kept the grip. I politely told him I was visiting a friend I hadn't seen in a while and wanted to spend my time with her and turned my back. He kept standing there, trying to talk to me. I again, bit more firmly, told him I wasn't interested. He stayed. He orders another drink and the bartender serves him, all the way at the other end of the bar. Actually showed him his drink and said it will be over here and walked it as far away from us as he could. I thought that was brilliant. He got a very good tip from us. The bar was the Dubliner in DC near Capitol Hill. If you haven't been there, go. Not just because of the intuitive and smart bartenders, but for the Smithwicks and Guinness burgers. With that one exception, I've met a ton of cool people there. I like this tactic. It's double effective. Creeper is moved away from his target and gets effectively called out as being an obvious creeper in front of the entire bar. Bonus if Creeper can put 2 and 2 together and realize the barkeep won't let him try and buy you a drink. I don't know about safe word drinks, but once in my early 20s I went on a date with a guy who I didn't know well but seemed fairly normal. About 2 drinks in he starts dropping some real creep vibes. Says that he loves how young I look. At one point he literally said, "You look barely old enough to have your period, yikes." I make eye contact with the bartender behind me and mouth help. She came right over and asked if I had been in recently because there's a scarf in Lost and found that might belong to me. I walked with her to an employee room and explained the situation. She waited with me while the bouncer bounced him. Later that same bouncer walked me to my car. My mother told me a story about a guy she went on a date with from some Middle Eastern country. Back in the late 70s, early 80s. They went to a nice restaurant all dolled up and he started saying crap about how he is from some super rich family and how he was basically a Saudi prince. He said, I am going to fly you back home tonight and make you my princess or something close to that, and red flags just unfurled around the dining room in her eyes. She excused herself to tea restroom and was in the middle of climbing onto a sink to get out the window when a server looked in, asked if she needed help sneaking out, and walked her through the kitchen and out the back door. She said she ran almost 3 miles in heels to get to a friend's place. Never heard from him again though. Not exactly what you asked for, but dealing with a major creep. I was at a bar alone and it was late and the guy wouldn't leave me alone. The bartender swooped in and said he was my husband and I was there waiting for him to get off work. He grabbed all my stuff and brought it to the other side of the bar and the other bartender got the guy out there, had me wait for a while after he left, then they got me an Uber home to be safe. 3 years later the bartender who pretended to be my husband is my actual husband. Mad lad. He convinced the world he was your husband and then finally, he convinced you. I used to be a bartender at a tap house club. While we didn't have a secret drink, if a guy ordered a drink for the lady and she seemed uncomfortable or really drunk, we'd address the lady and say, "What would you like, miss?" This usually gave the woman a chance to signal how she felt about the guy, and we'd alert the bouncer. One night a woman that was visibly intoxicated to the point of passing stumbled up to the bar. A guy that seemed to be forcing conversation with her approached the bar right behind her. He came out of nowhere and seemed almost sober. He ordered shots for him and the lady, so I turned to her and said, "What would you like, miss?" She blurted out, "Not this freaking loser." Me and her started talking until the guy got visibly upset and left with his single shot in a plastic cup. As soon as he was out of eyesight, the woman straightened up and said, "Thanks. I was sure if I acted drunk someone else would have gotten me away from him." Till there's something called a Safeword drink. As a 57-year-old married male, I'd be surprised if it's ever useful to me directly, but I've got grandkids to inform. Keeping your grandkids safe is directly useful to you. Ordered a Manhattan. Bartender told me I had a call at the phone at the end of the bar. I go over and look around for a phone but can't find one. He then asks me if I need a cab and that I can wait out back for it to arrive. I had no idea what was going on, and after a few exchanges of quizzical looks he explained that a Manhattan is the safe drink. I just wanted a Manhattan. He said I was the first person in years to have ordered one at that bar. Don't make your safe drink a real drink, FFS. I went to a late night sushi place with an old friend who was going through a rough patch in life. He showed up smashed, and then he proceeded to order a huge bottle of sake and poured us both glass after glass while we were waiting for the food. He also took the opportunity to start professing his love for me while rubbing my upper thigh. I was way out of my comfort zone, almost entirely alone at this place at like 1 or 2 AM, and hadn't even received the food. I was panicking because I knew I'd get too drunk to comfortably leave if I kept up with the drinks he was pouring. We had a tea pitcher at the table, so I started dumping the shots into the pitcher when he would look away. Our server saw me and made eye contact, and he started coming to the table a lot to stand between us and pick up dishes. He brought a second tea pitcher and just placed it beside me so I could drink something else. He also came outside to run something to the dumpster when we were leaving. It wasn't much, but it was something when there was no easy way out. I was on the weird end of something that feels like it should go here. Got together with a group of friends that just got off their work shifts and went to a local dive bar. One of the girls from work tagged along and had some shots with us. 3-4 shots in she said, "This chocolate cake shot is amazing. I can't even feel the alcohol. I haven't anything to eat all day, so this is like food, right?" She then proceeds to keep drinking to the point where she can't walk. There are 3 of us guys and we had to literally carry her to the car and spend the whole night making sure she didn't die. Worst drinking experience ever. The bartender looked at us walking out the door like we were freaking scumbags. I never went drinking with her again. There should be a safe word for guys to get bartenders to stop giving drinks to someone. That safe word is overserved. Getting someone that drunk is illegal if you're selling alcohol, at least in most of the US. Not a safe word, but just a shout out to the women who are aware of other females in uncomfortable situations. My story on I was in a very crowded bar and it had just struck midnight. Everyone shouted and it was awesome and good fun. My fiance wanted to run to the restroom before it was crowded, so I waited near the dance floor and a random guy came up to me and started getting too close for comfort and wouldn't leave after I told him I was with someone else. A girl who had been near me and SO for part of the night noticed and instantly came over and said, "Let's dance." We stepped off to the side and she told me she thought I was uncomfortable and that I might need a save until my SO comes back. I thought that was the coolest thing. 5 minutes into the new year and I knew it was going to be a good year full of bad butt chicks. Never saw the sign at a bar. I did see one at a doctor's office. It was signed with tear off slips if you were in trouble and needed to be seen alone. Just tear off a slip and give to a doctor or nurse and they send everybody else out the room. I was in a hotel bar and started talking to two gentlemen. I'm 31. Creep was maybe 45. Hero 50. Creep was clearly drunk. Each time he went to the bathroom, Hero would lean over and say he has been chatting up every lone woman all night. So Hero and I get up to leave around 11 and get in the elevator. He says he's going to 6. I say I'm going to 10. Creep comes running up to catch us. We ask what floor and he says 10. Hero says only 2, so floor 6 comes up and I take the hint and get off. I wait a couple minutes and Hero comes back and tells me he is in the room right across from the elevator. I literally was in the room right next to this creep. I thanked him and snuck to my room. Thanks, Hero. I had no idea safe drinks existed, so this doesn't exactly answer your question, but I have had bar staff follow me into the bathroom and discreetly ask if everything was okay and if I needed help. Everything was okay. I was there with my BF, but I wasn't feeling well, so I think I looked anxious and uncomfortable. He's many years older than me, so people always make assumptions. That, along with my demeanor, probably made them concerned. Honestly, I appreciated them picking up on it and asking. Even though everything was okay, it's always better to be safe than sorry. It wasn't a bar, but my first college. I worked late at the coffee shop and then had theater practice till 11 PM. I parked behind the school by the theater backstage door and got a parking ticket. The cop came by and asked why I parked there. I told him it felt safer, and he told me not to worry after this ticket. He couldn't get rid of the printed one. The rest of the semester I parked there when I neared to close. I did the same thing. I had to pay a lot of tickets, but I looked at it like I was paying for safer parking. In a way, totally worth it. I worked as a VIP host at an exclusive resort and we had earpieces like the Secret Service. We had a code phrase, black tea affair, if a woman, or I suppose a man, but it was never used by a man when I was there, was uncomfortable with a guest, they would say the code either directly, if they could do so discreetly, or in a sentence, emphasizing black tea affair, into their mic, and us guys would drop any and everything to locate the female employee. We had every shape and size males, from a huge Samoan, a scrappy Salvadoran, and a bunch of capable white and black dudes. I mention ethnicity because it was great being so diverse and we could kind of relate to all clientele from different backgrounds and regions. Some of us were stern and others social diffusers, but it worked great and the female employees loved having it. Highly recommend all businesses have a code word. The attention it brought to the concept is awesome. I'm from Germany, don't know of anything this subtle. I don't know if others had the same idea yet, bet though, but I've worked in bars a freaking lot over the last 10 years and I'll definitely talk to my former bosses regarding a Safa drink. Being a female, I have never heard of the Safeword drink, but I have looked at a random girl and been all, oh my god, it's been so long, how are you, and give them a hug when she whispers I got you. I was working at a music festival as a promoter and I could attend the concerts for free, so I'm walking around the crowd since I don't really know anyone, and I see this one guy that was obviously on some sort of drugs and probably drunk as well. He was next to two young girls and he was just swaying left and right, shirtless, and bumping against them, and they clearly don't know him because they are looking at him all weirded out, scared almost. I noticed they couldn't get rid of him. He would just slowly move towards them every time they tried to walk away. So I step in between the guy and the girls and basically take the body shots from his shoulder as he continued dancing, giving the girls enough time to walk away and lose him. It felt great to help someone out. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.